Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome for another time of, red heifer teaching. We're not really going to get into any scripture on this one. I want to touch base about the age requirements for the red heifer. Because I was under the impression it was 3 years old and they had to do it within that 3-year period. And I had a couple questions that came up and I started looking and found all kinds of different things. And now I get it because people say they lie. Different rabbis are saying different things, and they are. And I think I can explain why. All right. Let's dig into a few things. This should not be a long video, but then again, I don't know how long I'm going to talk. You do. You have a timer thing there. I've got a couple web pages here ready to go. So let's take a look at them. This is Shabbat.org. It's a very Orthodox or Jewish website. And it tells us here that the cow must be at a minimum within its 3rd year of life, i.e., 2 years plus a little bit. Elsewhere, I heard that little bit as being 2 years and 1 month. Apparently, if what I saw is correct, the red heifers that they have at this point are from 2 to 2.5 years old. Is that right? I'm sorry, 2.5 to 3 years old at this point. Okay, this is one. And I'm going to explain why. Do you see this little note here, the 1? Let's go down. Footnote C, Numbers 19:2. Well, Numbers 19:2. Let's see that real quick. Does that give us give me 1 second. Does that tell us how old? Numbers 19:2. This is the ordinance of the law. Let me do this real quick. This is the ordinance of the law which the Lord hath commanded, saying, Speak to the children of Israel, that they bring you a red heifer without blemish, in which there is no defect, and on which a yoke has never come. No, there's not. And if you read through Numbers here, which is the outline kind of for the red heifer, there is no age listed. Let's go back to the Shabbat. Mishnah Para, Maranatha, Law of Parish Amadia. These are basically writings of rabbis and sages of old. The Talmud, there's a Jerusalem Talmud and a Jerusalem Talmud and a Babylonian Talmud. They are what we would refer to in the Bible as commandments of, let me try one other one. Maybe it's men. And in our Matthew Bible study, we've been talking about this a bit. They worship me in vain in their teaching as doctrine the commandments of men. We have a footnote here, and I don't have it right here. So let's go here. Let's see where this footnote is from. Matthew 5:19. And I'm not getting it. Give me a second. Okay, open up to Isaiah 29:13. Therefore the Lord said, Insomuch as these people draw near with their mouths and honor me with their lips, but have removed their hearts far from me, and their fear toward me is taught by the commandment of men. These are the teachings of the great sages, the rabbis of old, which in many cases took precedent over Torah, took precedent over the prophets. It was pretty bad. And they have fences. They made up thousands and thousands of commandments that weren't in the Bible. And this is what we're dealing with these red heifers. Let's look at another one of the red heifer sites. Here, this is the first one. It says, to be sacrificed, age, generally 1 year old. Okay. Where I want to be here, I want to go on the next one. This is a site called Hashana Rabbah blog. The heifer has to be 3 to 5 years of age. So it has a limit. So my go-to authority is usually the templeinstitute.org. So let's go to their website and see what they say. At the time the red heifer may use for the commandment, the sages state that it is valid when it reaches maturity, i.e., from the beginning of its 3rd year. From this age onward, the red heifer is valid without limitations. From this age forward, it's valid without limitations. So it could go on a long time. Though ideally, one should not wait till it passes age 4, lest it grows hairs of colors that deem it invalid. Notice it said the sages state. What are sages? They're the wise men. They were always hanging out with the Pharisees. See, the sages were the wise men. You ever notice in the birth of Messiah that the 3 wise men came and they worshipped the baby? These have to be Jews. Nobody else is coming to worship a Jewish baby. The greater teaching institute at that time was in Babylon. These were Jews, and they went back to their own country, the same country. Anyhow, getting off here. See, these are the guys that wrote, the scribes that wrote over and over, wrote the Torah, wrote it out. Everything was handwritten. These are the guys that did it. And they were considered the experts on the law. They were the lawyers, kind of. But they are men. And this is being taken from what these guys said. You get what I'm saying? Oh, wait, we have a footnote. We got to see the footnote, right? So let's go back up. No, I actually have to go backwards here to get to the footnote. It was footnote 13. Marmalades, these are other people. These are other people, groups of people. Which is in accordance with the opinion of the sages in this writing of men. However, according to the opinion of Rabbi Eliezer, he was a great rabbi, the red heifer is permissible for use in its 2nd year. So in other words, 1 year old and a little bit. That's why there's opinions all over the place, because we're not dealing with scripture. We're dealing with the teachings of men, the commandments of men. And that's why there's so much difference in what people say and don't say, or how as to these ages. Here's the bottom line for me. By 30 days before the midpoint of tribulation, they are going to have to stop the sacrifices. Satan is going to come in. There'll be an abomination on a wing of the temple that causes the sacrifices to stop. In order to stop the sacrifices, they have to be going. You need the red heifer. By the way, the ashes, let me see if I can find this other thing real quick. Hold on one second. Hey, I'm sorry, I can't find it right now. But there was something on the Temple Institute that said historically back in the day when they were doing these often, they did a sacrifice like once every 50 years. I read elsewhere that they could sometimes commingle or mix the new ashes with the old ones. There is no expiration date on the ashes. Bottom line, you got to have a temple. In order to have a temple, you got to cleanse it. You got to have a red heifer. This is huge. Does it mean that we have to see the sacrifice it's not actually a sacrifice, it's a slaughter. Do we have to see the slaughter for the rapture? No, we don't. They just need it before the temple is built. I believe it'll be early on in tribulation when the temple's built. I don't believe we're going to see it. And I have my reasons for that. But I'm not going to get into those right here, right now. I hope this helps to clear up some of this. But the thing is, they have the red heifers. That is cool. There are so many miracles that have happened. They're just screaming, it is time to build. And if you caught any of the teachings about Haggai and the rebuilding of the second temple, that's when movement should take place, in those same times. God's the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. And when you see in the book of Haggai, over and over, it says, the Lord of hosts, the Lord of hosts, the Lord of hosts. It has that book, although speaking about the second temple, definitely has end time implications. Anyhow, thank you so much, and may God bless you. Take care.